Hello and welcome to Quartzlight, your car brochure channel. Today's episode we're continuing our UK Opel series with the Opel Monza. Hello and welcome back, and if you're new to Quartzlight, we look at car brochures from around the world on YouTube for the 60s, 70s, 80s and 90s. We're just a very small YouTube channel, so if you like the channel, we do appreciate if you would subscribe. That does help greatly. But what we're doing today, we've been looking through this 1980s brochure for the Opel range, for the UK Opel range, at a time when Opel was sold kind of like separately from Vauxhall in the UK. We're up to the flagship model now, the Opel Monza. So let's jump in and have a look at the Opel Monza in this 1980s brochure. So here is the Opel Monza, first introduced in 77. It ran till about 1982. I know it's kind of like a minor facelift where it got larger front headlamps, etc., and then carried on till 1986. But this is obviously the early ones with the smaller headlights, sold alongside the Vauxhall Royale Coupe, and that kind of differed in that a lot of the other Vauxhalls had that sort of droop snoot, but essentially it was just the same car really, obviously with different badges and a slightly different grille, but other than that, the same vehicle, sold side by side in the UK. But when the Royale Coupe came out, that tended to have a 2.8 litre. This is a 3 litre, although even by 1980 I think there was an option to even get a 3 litre on your Vauxhall Royale Coupe, so it's kind of like strange selling them side by side, I think, but there we go. And this is one of the few cars in the UK that the Vauxhall Royale Coupe was dropped, and then the Opel Monza name carried on being sold in the UK. A bit like the Manta, you know, they carried on calling it the Opel even in the UK. Strange times, I think. But anyway, it is one of my favourite cars just by the design. I really loved the back end of the Monza. So we'll have a look at some of these images and some of this text. So a little bit of a zoom in. I do like it in gold. I think gold really suits it, and we'll zoom in a little bit further. I kind of always think, I don't know, I've not really seen any evidence anywhere, but I kind of think the Opel badged cars in the UK or in Europe as a whole always got a bit more precedence of the Vauxhall badge ones. That's just my opinion, but like I say, when this came out, this had the 3 litre, and the Vauxhall Royale Coupe had the 2.8. You know, so this was, you know, seen as being one step above the Vauxhall in that way, although like I say, by 1980 you could get that 3 litre as an option even on the Vauxhall Royale Coupe. The other thing about this particular Opel Monza, only one model at this time, the 3 litre E. That's the only one you can get in this brochure. Let's zoom in at some of these images. I'm trying to clear this up a bit. It's always hard for the camera to zoom in when there's a black background. It always looks a little bit fuzzy, so we'll clear that camera up and zoom in a little bit further, I think. So zoomed in there, we can see these are the smaller headlamps. This is what we would normally refer to as the A1 Monza. Bit of a facelift in 82 when it was the A2. It was a little bit more streamlined, I think, actually, the later ones. And I think I prefer the later ones, I must admit. These also came standard with headlamp wipers, although I can't really make it out in that picture. It doesn't look like this one's got it, but it did have them as standard, so not sure about that. Those very recognisable alloys, which I do remember from old on the Monzas, which I do particularly like. This is a gold car, so it came with kind of like a matching interior. This is kind of like a sort of a tan coloured, would you say, but it kind of like matches, so that's quite nice as well. This unusual B-pillar with these sort of light stripes, quite nice. The door handles look quite classy as well, although I must admit my favourite part of the Monza was always that rear end. I liked how it sloped away, and as you can see there, and as you can see on the picture above, that lovely sort of smoked rear lights. Very early, isn't it, for a car to have those sort of smoked lights? I always remember them, always liked them rear lights. The green car is a very tiny picture, so it's hard to zoom in clearly, but you know, it says the Monza 3 litre E, and a little bit of a better look at those smoked rear lights. Looks like it's got no wiper from that angle, but which is a little bit strange because they did come up with a rear wiper. Then we get this by now very familiar interior, this large steering wheel which we've seen a few times in the Opel range. A lot of equipment on there, as you can see, well equipped car, but of course this is quite an expensive car in its day, so you know, the flagship of the Opel range. If we move the camera over, we get another shot of that green one. You can see badge there, a bit better to see the badge, that Monza 3 litre E badge. Hatchback, so pretty practical, although a lot of that boot space is taken up with that extreme slope on the back. And of course you've got a very large lip to you know, carry things and lift things into the boot area. My favourite part of this green example though, if you get the green car, you get matching green seats. How nice are they? Wood, kind of like looks nice with the green as well. This one is obviously the automatic, although there was like a no charge manual option as well. Text wise, it says the Monza is the sort of car keen drivers dream about. 3 litre fuel injected performance, a choice of automatic or manual transmission, precise predictable handling, elegant coupe styling, and the ability to cover great distances in great style. The Monza has them all, but unlike most dreams, it's a thoroughly practical proposition with a very satisfying car to live with. Potentially a 5-seater, it offers ample room for 4 adults and their luggage, with a big wide opening tailgate and fold down rear seats for added versatility. The sophisticated suspension gives outstanding ride comfort. Complemented by such luxury touches as a radio stereo cassette player, central locking, electric windows and a steel sunroof, plus upholstery and interior trim of the highest quality. And like every Opel, the Monza receives extensive anti-rust treatment during manufacture. So let's move on and actually look at how much all this costs. So remember, this is 1980, so it's a very expensive car. Only one model, like I said, the 3 litre E. It was £12,596.62, so really you had to be reasonably well off to afford that in 1980. Even more expensive than the Senator, which we talked about last week being very expensive. That was £12,143.14. You could even add more onto the Monza if you wanted, like you can see below. Rear seat belts, £68. Air conditioning was an expensive option at £857. I can't imagine many people would have really gone for that in the UK in the 80s, I would imagine. You can even have front fog lamps for £85. So there we go, that is a quick look at the Opel Monza. A car we've looked at before, but I thought it was worth looking at again to conclude this brochure series. And that's the full range of the Opel range in 1980 for the UK market complete. So next week we'll be looking at something a little bit different. I hope you enjoyed the series. Please do comment on any sort of memories of the Monza, and we'll see you very soon. So please do like and subscribe. We'll see you very soon. Take care and goodbye.